Welcome to the Prohibition podcast, brought to you in association with the Malt Miller, your go-to choice for premium homebrewing ingredients and equipment. Whether you're a beginner starting out or an experienced brewer, the Malt Miller has got you covered. So for top quality products and customer service, jump over to themaltmiller.co.uk and tell them the Prohibition sent you. We would also like to thank all our Patreons for their continued support with running and developing the pod. If you would like to become a member and gain access to exclusive perks and benefits, head over to patreon.com/the Prohibition. Now it's time to get this pod started, so crack open a homebrew and enjoy the episode.
He's hungover.
I am hanging out of my arse. That is what I am doing. Welcome to episode 116. Hopefully in the future, hangovers will be a thing of the past. Tonight,
Yes, please.
we are looking to the future. We are taking a long-term look, 100 years, to see what we think brewing might be like. Now, some of this is going to be very, 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 very tangibly, like, very barely even theoretically possible.
Well, we'll
But
see.
some of it,
Yeah.
we've got it. It's here now. We know we can do this, okay? But in 100 years, it's going to be a more mature, and we're going to do it that way, okay? So we've done some research, we've done some thinking, and this is what we can see being the shape of brewing in the future when we're all on Mars or wherever Elon decides we're going to go.
Underground.
Underground, under the ocean, wherever we end up.
Hiding from the fallout.
That's the one. So, before we get started, as per usual, hello to these two crazy twats that I do this podcast with.
Yes.
Check out the Malt Miller right now. Go there, okay?
Why?
While you've got this listening, go to the Malt Miller. Super crazy, mega, ultra bank holiday kegland sale. Now, there's some crazy prices on some stuff over there, people. Seriously, go, give it a go, give it a go, give it a go, because...
If you've been looking for a pressure fermenter and you're thinking, oh, shall I pull the trigger or not, and you haven't bothered yet, well,
Pull
now's
it
the
now.
time.
Pull it
Yeah.
now. Right now. This very instant, right, go, now. Okay? There's some banging, amazing prices on. We love the Malt Miller. They are literally the premier supplier of all things homebrew, and we love them. They really step up and they help us out a lot. And incidentally, for some reason, Joe and Rob have been married for 20 years this week. Okay? 20 years. Well played. Well
Cheers.
played. I don't know how the hell she puts up with him. But she clearly does. It must be the bikes. I'm joking. I love Rob and I love Joe. They're both amazing people. But they've got an
I'm keeping
amazing
my mouth
sale on.
shut.
They've got an amazing sale on at the moment, so go and check out their stuff. And there is a dedicated Prohibition recipe section where if you want to try some of the bangers from the people that we've had on the show, some crazy. I'm not even going there, Brett. Pack it in.
That's where I was going.
Jesus. I swear to God, you can't get the audience or the staff these days, can you?
No.
There's some recipes on there, stuff that we've created, stuff that guests have created. You know, just go there and go and get it, because it really is very, very good. You know, it's superb, to be fair. So,
Even
yeah.
the wrapped, was it the wrapped pill? I seen that was just even. I'm like, oh, should I get a wrapped? If you guys got the wrapped pill, quick
No,
question.
not anymore.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, and the controller.
And how? What's your thoughts? Very quick.
Really good. Yeah, really, really good. Actually, very impressed. Oh, I've got a visitor.
Small child.
Hey.
How are we doing?
Live on the podcast.
That's what
Hello.
you want. There we go.
There we go.
Minecraft. Yes.
I want Minecraft pajamas. I want Minecraft pajamas too.
Yeah, Minecraft pajamas.
Yeah, man. Rocking and rolling.
He's not feeling too well, actually.
Nah.
But,
Well.
yeah, I was talking about the wrapped temp controller and the wrapped pill.
Yeah.
Yeah, both really powerful together. And I upgraded from an old school temp controller from Inkbed.
Yep.
It wasn't even the Wi-Fi one.
Oh yeah.
So it's really nice to be able to just, like, on the wrapped controller, you can see the gravity, you can see the temperature, you can see the external temp and the internal temp. You can put fermentation profiles in. It's decent. And for what effectively is just an out the box solution. Not too fiddly to set up. Mine was pretty well calibrated out the box. Although I can't, your mileage may vary on that front.
Yes, it's always worth checking on it on, because you can always just calibrate it, and if it's that 1 or 2 degrees out sort of thing, you can fix that.
Yeah, I think I had to tweak the temp calibration a little bit, but the actual gravity reading was pretty decent out of the box. So I think you can get the pill and the temp controller right now for 105 quid together.
That's a bargain.
Which is pretty good.
That's a bargain, that.
If you want the wireless
Considering how much
charging-
is a tilt these days, is it not probably that just?
139, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or 129, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also have got a wart whipper, which I know, Chris, you use, don't you?
I got me a work whipper, yeah.
Yeah. Those are a tenner off. Which is
They're
really
banging.
good. So yeah, loads of great deals going on over at the Malt Miller.
Yeah, they're very cool. They're very, very cool. So, anyway, that's brewing now, okay? You see, that's brewing. We're not. We could do that now. What we're going to be able to do in 100 years? What we're going to be able to do? Anyway, before we get into it too deep, okay? Yeah, that's what I think as well, Deck. I'm going nowhere near that one on live online, but yeah, I agree with you there, Deck. So, who's got the echo? Is it you, Andy? Just mute yourself, Andy. Yep. Andy's got the echo. Okay. So basically, where was I going with it? What we drinking? Yeah, that's where we're going. What we drinking, boys?
What
we drinking?
What are you drinking, Chris?
Me? I'm drinking a very nice lager. Very nice lager. It's very tasty.
What's the ABV on that?
The ABV on this is 6.9.
6.9, is it? Hold on.
69 up your bum.
Minus 6.4. I was out last night. I've just given the lads a list of everything that I drank. I woke up still pissed this morning.
Tasty.
Yeah. So no, it's not 0% Liam. It's 0.5. It's Lucky Saint. And I'll be honest with you, as far as like low ABVs go, this is literally the best one that I've had so far. Zero Guinness. I don't care what any of you say. For me, it's utter shite. It's utter shite. Really, I won't drink that. I really won't. And I've got another one in the fridge, which is another 0%er, which Andy says is really good. So I'm going to try that one after this.
Yeah. I thought that would be better than Lucky. Yeah.
And if it goes to hell in a handbasket and I start to feel really bad, I've still got a couple of bottles of Nialco from Budvar in there as well.
Nice.
So
the question on my mind, Chris, is: are you going to put it in your sippy cup? Or not?
I don't know, mate. I mean, I'm still wearing a nappy, so
you should have a think about it. I
should. I deserve this abuse, but I didn't want to jump straight in. I'm hanging. It's bad, boys. It's bad. So
I always think like you'd be way better just getting straight back on the horse and
back
then
in the saddle, mate.
Yeah, just go get a 6.5% or something. That'll just instant, injection.
Highlight it. Yeah. I knew. Look, it is what it is. It is what it is. I had to give it a go. I just fancied something that wasn't as hefty as the Pastore beer that I had last night that almost took my head clean off. So I just decided to go with it.
What was it?
I can't remember what it was. It was a
sour, obviously, right?
Well, yeah, it was really sour. It was a pear, blackcurrant, pecan pastry sour, I think. Can't remember the name of it. And it was so sour that when I had the Vault City beer after that,
which is no way.
I had Vault City. I think it was Cloudy Lemonade or something it was called. It didn't turn my head inside out, which that beer had done at MCBF when I was there. And that Pastore one, I got up this morning, I had some breakfast, and I burped
Still
afterwards, and I could taste that beer.
Oh,
And I'm like, that's a bit much, is that? So, yeah, I'm easing myself in. Let's call it that. I'm easing myself
Ease
in.
yourself in.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll end
you're
up.
going to receive some abuse whilst you
I
do
am.
it.
I'll end on a big boy. I've got a couple of big boys in there, which I'll end on
Wow.
just
Good
before bed. So yeah, that's what I'm on. I'm drinking 0.5% Lucky Saint, and I'll be honest with you, really being quite impressed with this beer. It's a good one. I'd recommend it. You know, if you want it for your sippy cup.
For your sippy cup, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Look, I think we're going to have to do this podcast quick because isn't it your bedtime at 9 p.m?
Mate, it's already 15 minutes past my bedtime.
Is it?
Yeah.
Don't tell mummy.
I won't.
Oh, wow.
I'm drinking Hobgoblin
Oh, gold.
Gold beer. Gold beer.
Right. Yeah.
It says it's just that I grab my axe and crack open a gold one. Yeah,
You jumped to the conclusion there.
put my teeth back in. It's rascally, refreshing, and hoppy.
You just reading the label.
I'm reading the label. Yeah, that's not my opinion.
I'm guessing
that's the opinion
Fuggles.
of Hobgoblin. It's
EKG.
all right. It's got a nice colour, nice clarity, good head retention. Definitely a multi nose.
Is that the Hobgoblin equivalent of Hopical Storm?
I think it's just a lower ABV version of their normal beer, maybe.
Well,
Sort
the
of
normal
more
one's the
gold
ruby.
nail.
The ruby one's the one they sell
Ruby,
big, and then you've
yeah.
got the IPA and then the gold.
I think this is probably fitting into your kind of ordinary bitter / pale ale territory. It's quite
Why?
bitter. It's not bad actually. I got given it for my birthday. You know, like when family members know you like beer, and you know they just give you some beers, and I was like, yeah,
All right, so it was a gift.
it was a gift. Yeah, I
Cool.
had that and a can of something. Can't remember what the other one was. I thought I'd ease myself in with a 4.2% beer. And it's not bad. Pretty drinkable.
Have you got much on tap at the minute in the house? On.
Yeah, I got a bit. We got my Märzen left over. The CF lager that I made. You know, it had a bit of a sort of bready funk
Bready
to
thing,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. So what I've done is I've just pulled the keg out of the Keyser, and I've just set it aside. I'm just going to let it roll, just let it age for a while, see what it does. So
Okay.
it might actually turn into a really nice bread lager. So, you know, happy accident and all that. I've got the Allura Hazy Pale on, which will feature on a future podcast
Next week.
next weekend.
Yeah.
I've got a New Zealand Pilsner in the currently just conditioning. So that was that. I made that with the Hop Revolution blend and
Have you
extra
taken
Nelson just
have you
for
taken
good
a
order.
cheeky on that? A cheeky week?
Yeah, it
Yes.
tasted pretty good. The thing with lagers is you always like give it a little
Right.
taste whilst you're kegging it, but it's never quite kind
I
of
was-
what it becomes, is it? It's
No,
but it was
it's-
tasting pretty good.
You definitely have that kind of grainy sort of, I don't know, with the yeast sort of in suspension. I get that. I get a kind of graininess sort of thing that comes through quite a bit. Or maybe it's not the yeast, but just it needs to clarify, I think.
It's a bit flabby. It just gives you a little insight as to kind of is
Uh-huh.
there any off flavors? What's it gonna maybe taste like in like 2 months' time? So I might give that a try on Monday when I send you guys some beers. If it's any good, then I'll send you some.
Sweet.
What else have I got on tap? I'm currently making the wife some prosecco, so that's what's in the FV at the moment.
Mark
I've also
Collowell's
got a
saying he's saying he might was it use his Hop Revolution blend in a vacant gesture base.
Yeah, that would be
Oh,
nice.
nice. Kinda
Honestly,
golden.
those Hop Revolution pellets, when you open them, they just smell like fruit candy. Like they smell amazing, just as pellets.
Yeah.
So if you get any of that thrown into the beer, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
And the other thing I've got on tap is a hazy saison,
Ooh.
which is dry hop saison,
Okay.
which I actually end up keg hopping. So it's really hazy. But that's it at the minute.
Cool.
So I probably ought to be drinking something from the keg, but
You've got your
didn't fancy
Hobgoblin Gold, you
I
know.
know. Yeah, what it needed drinking at the end of the day, otherwise it's just going to sit at the back of the fridge, isn't it? So there you go. What are you drinking, Andy?
I've got my Czech Pilsner. I think, do you know what? I brewed this end of last year sort of time. It was it was wet hopped, I'm sure, with the sage from the garden as well. So that's quite a while now. But I've got in a replacement in there. I've got a German Helles that I kegged. I did a 10 gal batch, split it, gave half to my brother, half for me, and it's sitting and ready to go, because this is pretty much that sort of last little bit in the keg. So hit this first before I start moving on to the Helles. Yeah.
Have you gotten out of the habit of, like, when you know it's at the end of the keg, Andy, you always used to be obsessed with finishing the keg, didn't you? You'd be like, I'm on my 6th pint of this, and the keg won't end. Ah.
Oh, yeah, I've had a few of those where you just get absolutely shit-faced, and then you go, do you know what? I start switching it. I get the Grand Mass. That comes out, and then you just start filling that, and then see when it still fills it, you're like that. Come on, just end.
It's gotta kick at some point. Yeah, ride or die.
Been a few
mate.
like that.
Ride or die. Yeah, I don't tend to stress too much about that, but it always seems to be the kegs you don't want to kick that end up kicking, right?
Yeah, because they start tasting absolutely insane, and then you go, that's gonna kick.
I don't think there's going to be, after I send you boys some of that Allura beer, I don't think there's going to be a lot left of that.
Okay.
I imagine that's going to be a very nice beer when that turns up.
It's pretty decent, yeah. It's pretty tasty.
Yeah.
Really tasty, but yeah, we'll talk more about that next weekend.
Can we just address the lack of the beard in the room? So Simon Seaton, good mate of mine, Simon, top bloke. Good beer, good brewer, crappy beard. He's basically turned around and said, "Where's Tricky?" The answer is, we don't know. All we know is...
I thought he was getting pissed.
all we know is, at the start of the chat, if you look up, he abused me. And that means that he's probably sober still. Because normally when he's drunk, he doesn't check the chat. So, yes. And in response to Richard Bagley, yes, this beer is alcohol-free, and I don't like it. I wish I'd bought more bottles of that Lucky Saint, if I'm honest. But this is going to be the last one, boys. I'm on the hard stuff after this.
Are you on the Erdinger?
What are you
Yeah.
drinking? Oh, you're
And it's
drinking
not-
the Erdinger, eh?
And it's not sticking up to the Lucky Saint.
It's a refreshing isotonic drink, is what it says on it. It doesn't taste anything like Erdinger. It's not even frigging close. I'm not a massive fan of this, but yeah, I'm gonna smoosh this one down, and then I'll get onto some hard stuff after this. So,
Yeah.
anyway, just a quick question for the two lads who are in the video with me at the moment. Are we just skipping over Andy's literal vomit on a page and going straight to the next
please.
bit?
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So we're going to skip over Andy's vomit. We're going to move straight on to the next bit. We're going to hit the meat of this one. So, brewing in 100 years, guys. Go.
What we thinking? Well, I'll introduce something that we used, which is actually it's an analytical tool used predominantly in the phases of strategy definition, which is called Pestl. That's an acronym that stands for political, economic, social, technological. What's the A stand for?
Oh, you missed it.
Yeah, environmental and legal. I think I missed the A. I'm not too sure where the A went. So
Is it-
we
is it
started
A?
out thinking. So let's just start from the top. Let's start at the sort of we merged political and legal together. But what do we think? What do we think might be happening with beer in 100 years from a political or legal standpoint?
Can I jump straight in? Can I throw the fucking nuke before anybody else touches
No,
it?
you're not throwing
Go
nukes.
nuts.
They could ban it. Let's get that one out right now. They could ban it.
Yeah.
And being a
Could
home
ban
brewer,
beer.
you could literally be the last bastion of
Keep
beer
that alive.
brewing in the UK. Because, to be fair, that's not a bad point, that, Brett. They could ban it, you know, and there's a reason for it written on our notes, but I'm not gonna mention that. It's all in caps, and we're just leaving it there. But there's things like beer duty. They could tax it. They could tax it to oblivion. There
Is that
could
like
be.
what they do? Is it Norway and Sweden or whatever? Do they
Yeah.
not tax it to oblivion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now-
They could ban home brewing.
They could ban home brewing. Yeah, that is a
but-
possibility.
But you can't really.
Good luck policing that one.
Yeah, you can't really police that. Can
Well,
you?
it's
And-
but
and if-
you would pull all the ingredients, wouldn't you? So you would need to become very, very friendly with a local brewery.
or
but-
a farmer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, you know, we could all just use sugar. Just standard granulated sugar.
Oh,
could,
yeah. Country.
That
Is that
reminds-
country wine?
reminds
we'll
me
go
a bit
prison
of,
hooch.
Reminds me a bit of the wine I'm making for my wife at the moment. 3 kilos of granulated sugar.
Sweet.
We would definitely now. You'd need to start slanting all your yeasts so that you could have that long-term sort of,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
grow everything up from
Yeah.
your slants. You would need to proper go that way.
But what do you think might precipitate them banning it?
Oh, it's got to be health.
Is it
like,
health? Or here's
Probably.
an idea, right? We all know that AI in the next probably 10, probably more likely 20 years is going to displace an enormous amount of us out of work. However, it will also progress and make us a lot of money, like economically, right? So we're not going to be poor, but we're not going to. There's not going to be a need to work. Does alcohol become a problem at that point?
well, because we drink too much, because we've got too much spare
Well,
time.
like, yeah, if Andy I went, listen, I'm going to pay you 100 grand a year. I'm the government. I'm going to pay you 100 grand a year. You don't have to work.
So
you can just
basically-
do whatever you want.
What
Like,
did we- what was that
how
called?
likely is you're at the pub?
What did they
6
call that
days a
during
week.
COVID? That had a name.
Oh,
You went on that sabbatical thing. What was it called?
I can't remember.
God, not layaway. Furlough.
Furlough. Yeah, so it's basically
you were
furlough.
furloughed. Oh, I didn't get furloughed.
No, did I?
I was a bit.
I
gutted,
did.
to be honest.
It was awesome.
Yeah, like,
And did you just drink shitloads of alcohol, Chris?
No, I had 2 kids. I had 2 rugrats running around with me. In fact, one of them weren't even running around at the start of it. Yeah, it was mental. I was being like teacher at home teaching Oscar. He could do long addition, long subtraction, and long division when he was 5.
I'm pretty sure my weight gain went like this during lockdown.
Mine went down. Mine went down.
Mine definitely went up.
Yeah.
Basically, COVID lockdown was which brewery am I gonna order a
Which brewery am I
24-pack
going
from?
to support?
Yeah, support. Which brewery
was
am I going
that.
to support this week?
Yeah.
And then sit about and drink. I think the health thing is probably the I think someone said here beer will go the same way as smoking due to health concerns. They kind of pretty much pushed smoking to the fringes. I think at some point they're literally talking about just banning it, aren't they? Making it illegal.
It's just taxed it
Probably
so
going to
much,
be
isn't
the same thing. But then Prohibition in America didn't really ever work.
No, it didn't work.
Completely, did it?
No.
It just drove it underground, didn't it? So the government.
that's all
couldn't
it'll do
make money
here.
off it.
That's all it'll do here.
And that's probably a good warning sign for the government not to do it.
Who knows?
What they're going to do? They're going to ban me from buying fruit. Good luck.
Hooch.
Buying
Frozen hooch. Yeah, they're going to be like, why do you want all that grain? Well, I'm going to mill it myself and make bread.
I think that's the issue, isn't it? But let's move past this, okay? Because that is like worst case scenario. That's like the ultimate, like this could happen. In reality, I think the only way that they're going to be able to make alcohol illegal is if they do something with just tax, because the amount of money that beer brings in.
That's what's happened in Scotland. We've got minimum pricing now, so wait till you guys get hit with that one, and then no multi-buy offers, and everything's just expensive, because that's what they want to do. They just want to make it all super expensive for you.
I swear to God, if that happens, I'll move to Germany.
No, you don't. You just go, oh, I've got a home brewery. I'm all right.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, I'd still move to Germany.
Beer on tap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the advantage, isn't it? Or you just order your beer. Can you just order? You just order your beer from England, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Just get it shipped up from whichever brewery you choose.
Yeah, but at that point, minimum pricing doesn't apply because it's all just fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you get on a vacation deal on 25% off or whatever.
Free delivery at the moment.
Free delivery, yep.
Yep. So economic. Let's go to E for Pestl, because it is Pestl, not Pestl, according to somebody in the chat. Economic, basically, we're looking at taxation increases, aren't we? Let's call it what it is. Tax is going to start increasing. They're going to start bumping it up. Same thing that they've done with cigs. You know, what is it now for a pack of 20 fags? I don't know. I haven't smoked in years. What is it, like 11 quid?
Is it?
10 or 11 quid for a pack of smokes?
It's more than that, mate.
Is it? Used to be,
I think it's probably
quid.
nearer 15 quid.
When I was at uni, you could get 20 Marlboro Gold, or Marlboro Lights as they were called back then. It was £1.75.
Yeah.
You can't buy 10s anymore.
That's just... Anyway, I do agree. Smoking's horrific. Don't do it. It's bad for you. Now, let's go to the social aspects of the Pestl analysis. Alcohol's going to move to the fringes, which, let's face it, it kind of is doing already.
Yeah, the kids just now, they're not really taking up alcohol, which is a big problem for all the pubs.
There's pubs left.
Well, it's a big part of it. The drinking culture's just not there. Or when you go to the pub, it's just full of old boys.
Yep.
Really?
And, like, that's literally the second point. Does beer become a drink for the old?
Wow. Yeah. I mean...
I think it is.
I don't know. Do you know what? The generation after, I'll go check these wanks that never bought, didn't drink, and then they'll all just be
smashing it down again.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's cyclical. There's sort of a bit of a revolt against the whole kind of stay healthy for Instagram.
They don't know what they're missing, Liam.
Liam says they go to the gym instead of the park with cider.
They do. They do, for sure.
That's the one.
The glory days.
It's very possible that beer and alcohol does become a drink of the old. But I would say probably only if there are alternatives. Like, are we going to see an alcohol in our lifetime or over the next 100 years, an alcohol that you can drink and it gives you the same effect with no hangover?
I'm going to be honest with you. Chemistry-wise, I can't see how.
Right, here we go.
Because it's ethanol that we actually drink. Everybody knows this, okay? It's ethanol. Methanol sends you blind. Propanol, which is 3 carbons. So ethanol's 2 carbons, methanol's 1, propanol's 3.
What have we started?
That is basically antifreeze, for want of a better term.
Don't
right?
think that.
And so if you drink antifreeze, Guess what they give you to treat it?
Alcohol.
Ethanol. Because it is preferentially metabolized by your body and the propanol can just go out.
Right, okay.
So, no, I don't think there's going to be a Star Trek style synthahol. Okay, I don't think that's going to happen.
Boo.
I think it's more likely that yeah, methanol. That's exactly the same, Thomas, but it does still send you blind, mate. So yeah, it's no bueno, methanol. Don't drink methanol. Also, it stinks.
It can kill you as well, right?
Yeah.
There's been quite a lot of instances of people being given methanol, especially like young kids, like on holiday or away travelling, and end up dying.
I'm not being funny. If you cannot smell the difference between methanol and ethanol and propanol, you that's kind of like taking the warning labels off of everything. You've got to be able to know what you're drinking, for God's sake. Learn the difference in the smell, because it is really clear. It's really, really clear. So yeah, that's the one. One very interesting thing that we've got down on the notes for this one is, are alternative drinks going to become more prevalent? And I think that this one is happening a lot with not necessarily the younger generation, but with some people, where essentially there are drinks coming out now which have got THC in them. There are CBD drinks. I think that is more likely. Maybe psilocybin will come into that one, low dose psilocybin. Not enough to get you like tripping balls, but certainly something to give you an effect which isn't alcohol. I think that's definitely something that we can look towards. But yeah, I can't really see a synthetic alcohol replacement coming in at all.
No,
I just can't.
I actually read an article on the Independent last week or this week, which was talking about Gen Z's actually moving towards THC drinks over alcohol. So between the ages of 18 and 34, they've seen a 10% decrease of alcohol consumption.
So basically, boys, we've got 10% to make up, so step it up.
2 decades ago. And I think maybe in the eyes of Gen Zers, like, also alcohol's quite expensive. And actually, in this day and age, right, like you go. I was chatting to someone the other day. You go to the pub, you get a round. Let's say there's 4 or 5 of you. You get a round. It's like you're looking at like 30 quid.
Yeah, I bought 3 rounds last night. 27, 29, and 28 quid. No, 27, 29, and 24 quid.
And how many drinks was that?
3, maybe 4.
Yeah. It's not cheap, right?
No.
Unless you go to Spoonies and then it's £2 pints on the cask.
Yeah,
No
absolutely.
wonder Spoonies is
On a Tuesday night.
so popular. But I digress. So this article was talking about THC infused drinks, which are obviously becoming much more popular in the US, depending on the state you're in. Obviously, that's not something that is in the UK yet.
Because it's not legal.
No. But is it only a matter of time? I don't know. But yeah, they seem to be like, kind of buying these drinks. They might not necessarily be like all massive potheads, but they just like, like rather than have a 4-pack of beers, they'll be like, oh, I'll have one little THC drink and I'll be just chilled for the night.
Pizza companies are going to do a killing. Basically. Yeah, I think that's definitely something to think about. That's definitely something to look at. But I'm not entirely sure that, because the larger amount of drinkers are not within that age range. So I don't think it's something that we need to be massively concerned about for sort of the next 10 or 15 years until those people who are doing that get a little bit older.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe they don't legalize THC in this country and, you know, there we go. We'll see what happens.
There is also like synthetic alcohol options on the market right now. I'm not sure if anyone's tried any. I'm not sure I have. There's one called Sentia Gabba. I have tried that, actually. It tasted nice, but it didn't make me feel pissed. And I think there are a few others as well. Alco-synth. So I don't know, maybe that might start to expand. And that in theory, right? And that actually is a modified ethanol.
Modified to what?
Don't know, you're the chemist.
Well, if you modify ethanol, it stops being ethanol.
And then there's a benzodiazepine derivatives.
Oh, I mean, you can... Benzodiazepine.
Yeah.
All right, let's fucking leave benzos alone, mate.
I think
Right.
it's interesting.
Hang on, no,
Derivatives.
because this is very important to listen to, okay? As far as I'm aware, there are 2 compounds that when you take them and you become addicted to them, stopping taking them will fucking kill you.
Oh.
All right? One of them is alcohol, believe it or not. So if
Yeah.
you get fully, like, well in there, in peace for breakfast, kind of a bottle of vodka for lunch, alcohol dependent, and you just stop, it can kill you. And benzodiazepines is another sort of chemical compound, another pharmaceutical compound, that if you just stop taking it cold turkey, it can kill you.
Oof.
So let's not go anywhere near anything that's even a derivative of benzos. Thank you very much.
But see, I think Brooksy made a point about how, you know, if alcohol was released today, it would probably get banned, right? So them bringing out another product similar to alcohol these days would probably just get banned anyway. Unless what we have seen with cigarettes is the vaping thing come out,
Yep.
and it was seen as the healthier alternative and then allowed to run. But even now, we're starting to see a ban on disposable vapes, I think because of the environmental
Yes.
fallout from that and the mess
Yeah.
that's created.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Also-
they're ridiculously expensive.
And a big problem with
New
fake
Yeah.
vapes as well, like being horrendously bad for your health because they're not
Yeah.
using the correct
materials.
things in them.
Yeah.
So that's pretty wild. So there you go. That's
The
all
list.
very possible. Let's go really blue sky here, guys. Is there anything like we've not considered? 100-year time frame.
Well, I think to take it back to a slightly more positive note, beer, let's be realistic, we're all crossing his fingers and hoping to God that it's still around in 100 years, right? I'm going to be very dead in 100 years. However, what about the use of AI and robotics?
Well, like machine learning to figure out some sort of new chemical compound or something.
I'm thinking more along the lines of the process and the let's call it the light bulb moments. There's already people out there who are talking to Chat GPT and saying, you know,
a recipe for this.
throw me a recipe, let's see where we end up.
Yeah, I want guava and peach and stuff. What would you recommend? And then,
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely like. Did anyone see the Google adverts this week about what they're doing with the videos that they're now able to produce just from prompts?
No.
It is frightening. Frightening.
Yeah.
Like completely realistic. It can
Really?
do it in different accents. It can do it like go check it out on YouTube. Like it was literally came out like middle of this week. It's crazy.
Because that's basically
So-
killing the whole creative industry, isn't it?
Yeah, like marketing and you can literally now just go like, produce me a video on this with this sort of person and this sort of style, and it produces you a video, however long you want it to be.
Yeah.
And you can tweak around with it, and you can produce a marketing video in a matter of probably an hour. You know, whereas it probably used to take many people many weeks to produce something really sharp.
Wow.
So it's that's just one example, right? Like AI is obviously hard to ignore in this whole future discussion.
Most definitely.
Yeah, so you've got kind of recipe creation, which is going to be like AI is just going to go wild in that regard. The more it learns, but also like what about like in the brewery?
Well, that's a tough one, that, isn't it? I do think that we're looking at changes to energy processes, definitely. Maybe super efficient. I can't remember what the latest generation of solar panels are actually running at efficiency-wise, but I think it's somewhere along the lines of about 35. I might be wrong with that number. In fact, I probably am. But I think it's about 35% they're running at. You suddenly get a solar panel that currently you're running, let's say, 12 panels, and you've got a 4.8 kilowatt array. If they become 50% efficient, you've suddenly got a 15 kilowatt array or a 16 kilowatt array. And then if they go to 65 or 70, all of a sudden you've got like a 25 kilowatt array. And at that point, if everybody has 10 panels on their roof, you've got no more energy issues, really. There's the storage part of it, which is, the graphite batteries that they're working on and all the other bits and bobs. And, all of a sudden you're looking at a no real power issue. I'm kind of trying to ignore chat at the moment because I want to have an argument with Brooksy about his statement, but I'm probably going to do that in the 15 minutes I'm going to spend in the after party.
We just need Gary. We need Gary in the chat.
We do. We're
talking
need Gary.
Solar panels. Where is he? Come on, Gary.
Yeah. I just think it's more likely to go down the route that Ron's just said, a miniature fusion reactor at home.
Yeah. There he is. There's Gary.
Did someone mention solar? It's like a meerkat. What? Hello. I just think that, with the way that fusion's going at the moment, they've now got a fusion reactor that ran and created energy rather than taking it in. I think that's basically what we're going to be looking at. But it's a difficult one.
I mean, why would you have a mini reactor in each of your homes? Surely you would just put in reactors to replace the existing energy production infrastructure, and then you just run it through. And
true, you could do it that way.
Network like we are today,
but it's an inefficient network, isn't it?
Maybe just like it's going to be like buying like one of those, USB battery packs.
I swear to God, if they put any more fucking USB ports on stuff, I'm going to flip out.
Why have they not replaced USB by now?
Literally everything comes with a fucking USB. So why?
And why is it every time you go to put it in, you always put it in the wrong way?
Well, that's why they invented USB-C, innit?
Yeah.
So that you couldn't. But anyway, I think another thing that we need to look at, and I'm going to move away from the energy thing because it's going to create a few arguments, that one is. There's so many different technologies out there at the moment which are very much in their infancy, and they're not showing any kind of promise to move forward. I'll put it that way.
Well, let's just make a blanket, factual assumption. No, that doesn't make sense. We can't make factual assumptions.
I think you have to be a betting man to bet against it.
That we will have in the next 100 years, we will have limitless energy.
I think limitless is probably overstepping it.
Energy is not going to be the thing that's going to be scarce.
No, right? It's not. There's going to be no energy scarcity.
Yeah.
I think that's very safe to say. There will be an abundance of energy that we can use, whatever form that comes in. Whether I'm trying to remember the names. I'm trying to remember the names of the fusion reactors. Is it Tokarak or Tokarak or something? Anyway,
there's a few of them about, isn't there? I think some of them are running. They did some experiments recently, and I think some of them have been running for like a good 20 minutes or so.
yeah, and generating electricity rather than simply taking it in,
And
which is the issue.
Yeah, and what I find frightening about what I read on that is the fact that it's heating the core to something like multiple times the temperature of the sun.
Yeah.
But not even like a small multiplication of that. It's kind of like it's 20,000 times hotter than the centre of the sun or something. It's absolutely bonkers. But yeah, there you go. Exciting times. You're on mute, Chris.
I know. I was actually talking to myself at that point. It is pretty crazy, to be fair. But the one of the things, and I'll say it now, I was doing some research for this podcast last week, and one of the things that I came up with was, oh God, I've written it in the notes, haven't I? I need to get it because I'll say it wrong. Quantum batteries.
Oh, I've heard about this. Yeah.
Right? So, quantum batteries are an amazing thing. I'm not even going to try to explain it. I don't really understand it. But, as I understand it, it is essentially extracting energy from dark matter.
From a quantum level.
At a quantum level. And it's amazing because they're these teeny tiny, minuscule, like nanometer sized batteries. And you can create a potential difference across the cell. And for those of you who paid attention in physics, a potential difference is a voltage. Okay? So an electron goes through and can't get back. So you've created a potential difference across that cell. Now, you can print 1 billion of these onto a chip and essentially have a battery in something the size of, you know, a bottle cap, which may end up being able to charge your phone for free forever, which I think is just brilliant. So that is something that, honestly, I'm really looking forward to seeing how that technology progresses, because that is literal free energy for the lifetime of that chip. And you can scale up that chip, which is basically what Nvidia is doing with its AI chips. And that's how we've ended up with all of the stuff that we've currently got as far as AI goes, which incidentally is going to reach a plateau soon, because you're going to run out of chips and energy. Because stepping up from one level to the next is a 10x. Okay, so if you have one chip, to get to the next level you need 10. To get to the next level you need 100. To get to the next level you need 1,000. And pretty soon you need a nuclear reactor to be able to power your warehouse and your chip array. And that's essentially where the bottleneck's going to be for AI processing, is going to be literally the amount of power that it needs. It's going to need more power to run the AI bank than the rest of the country will require to run it. So I think unless there is... Fuck off, Brooksy. There is... physics is just basically applied maths, and chemists do that. So and we've made advances since 1960, but you know. The main sort of drop off is going to be with the power, is basically what I wanted to say. So yeah,
Unless you can get AI aimed at trying to work out a solution to that problem.
yeah, but the
now
problem with
we
that,
get very meta, don't we?
the problem with that is you're still going to be limited by the actual amount of power that you're going to need, unless it comes up with a way to change the chips, which requires a complete refab, which means that you're starting again from scratch.
Yeah, but sometimes that's just the way you have to evolve, isn't it?
I mean, where else are people going to get pictures of cats if we don't have AI?
Are we talking about beer brewing here, or are we talking about?
No,
dark
We
matter?
have stepped off a little bit.
We're just
A little.
talking
little.
about the future.
Anyway,
I had a thought, right, when I was asking that question about, well, how about the brewery, right, in 100 years? A commercial brewery, not really like home brewing, but we can talk about home brewing in a minute. Are you going to have an AI-controlled brewery, all robotic, or at least automated?
Well, I think as investment costs come down on the kit and the automation side of things, then more breweries are going to move towards less manual labour sort of things, aren't they?
Yeah.
But then you might find that people actually want something that's a craft product, because beer could be that sort of thing where people would rather have someone made by hand rather than by machine. So it becomes like we're kind of at the minute with craft. You know, you slap craft.
Do you reckon beer will start having a label that says "made by a human"?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it could, because that could be seen as a beneficial thing, especially with something so precious as food, because you might find the machine's trying to kill us, and I'll be like, true. Oh, that was made by.
Or do you reckon? So do you reckon there might be like robotic humanoids?
I don't think so.
In the brewery. In 100 years?
I don't think so.
I reckon there's definitely going to be. There's going to be droids. There's going to be droids in the brewery digging the mash tun out. Definitely digging the mash tun out.
Beer is so much more than simply doing a process. There's an artistic element to beer.
Yeah, which is what I was saying.
And I think that is where AI will fall flat on its face, because it won't be able to make... I mean, the interactions between hops, unless it can model it out chemically, then
it will be able to.
I'm not entirely sure it will, because it's so dependent on various different things.
When you think about the fact that at some point in the very near future, AI is going to be smarter than humans.
I mean, I know a lot of humans it's already smarter than.
Because it'll be able to have probes in the fermenter to measure if there's
exactly
byproducts, off flavors.
I don't know, man.
And then it'll be like, nah, kill it.
Now we're getting into an interesting subject, Andy. They'll be able to pick up things that we just won't be able to pick up.
Yeah.
Or that's not to say that they'd be so much more efficient at working out what it means, because we can't put that many sensors and that many data points into the brewery because we're not smart enough, fast enough to be able to figure out. But what does that mean? How do I control it? Whereas AI would just be able to go, yep, and just.
You're scaring me, boys. You're scaring me.
Yeah, and I'll be able to fix the control of temperature or agitation or. Yeah. Add certain things like chemicals or whatever to try and control. Yeah.
You'll be able to, in terms of the controlling the variables of creating consistent beer, they're actually absolutely going to be able to nail that. And I think, if you were to say, I really want a beer that tastes like, this, or I really want, if you give all of the parameters precisely what it is that you want to create at the end of it, it won't be down to chance. It won't be like, I'm going to try and do my best at the front end and then it kind of ends up what it is, right?
I think you're failing to take into account one important thing with that statement. We make work, we don't make beer. Yeast make beer.
They do, but equally, is all we do is pitch it in and then hope for the best.
Well, we don't though, do we?
Well,
yeah, we do.
But we don't.
But all we can control.
What's the one lever? What's the one lever we pull? Maybe pressure and
temperature. Mm-hmm. Sugar concentration, BHP straight. Pitch rate, all that sort of stuff. I don't know. Look, you're scaring me. Stop it.
Well,
But what I'm gonna do,
I'm not going to stop until you're white in the face and puking
until
in a
the
bucket.
until the
oh,
pod's
it's fucking
over.
close already. I'm gonna have a beer in a minute.
Whoa.
One of the things, an actual beer, but one of the things that I want to talk about is a technology that's already here, which is being refined. And I read an article where they were talking about moving to a different process, and that was CRISPR.
Yeah.
Okay, now
We've
already seen a lot of yeast coming from America, let's say, where CRISPR has been used.
Yeah.
We had Lance on, and he was talking about gene knockouts.
It was like you could change something, and it would then like turn something on or off. So
Yeah.
then it would make an expression of such, I don't know, some sort of flavour or whatever, and
Exactly.
they could turn that on or off, which was like, wow.
Okay, so let's talk about something that's already here. There are yeast currently available, being used, which produce vanilla. They produce vanillin. So literally they just chuck out vanilla flavouring. Okay, I was having a conversation with somebody and we were talking about this. What's to say that we can't engineer those yeast to produce something different like hop flavours? Why is it that we can't engineer those yeast to produce linalool, myrcene, all these other flavours that we've got?
But
Would
we
you
still
even need hops?
Yeah,
Would you need
but-
hops at that point?
I think do you not need it for its to stop that infection type thing?
Well, we
like-
could get the yeast to produce the alpha acids.
Can you though?
Of course you can.
Can you get yeast to produce alpha acids?
I'm pretty sure you could.
Yeah.
Right, let's get phone Lance.
Yeah, hold on.
I can't see why not.
I want to phone a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see why we couldn't.
You get Alex on. She'll tell us.
If they can produce vanilla, why can't they produce
Because
alpha acids?
There might be limitations in what you can't do, but then can you use CRISPR on hops?
I'm sure you could use CRISPR when you're developing hops, because essentially the stamen and the stigma is the egg and the sperm.
Right. So
What is CRISPR?
the genetic mod.
Genetic
like,
engineering technique.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Why couldn't you? Why couldn't you do that?
But then we end up with what's that TV show just now on Sky where they're all turning into mushrooms?
I don't
So
have Sky.
Do you end up with that? What's it? Our
I have
listeners
no
will
idea
know.
what you're talking about.
The question is, Liam has just asked, is this legal at the minute? Is it genetic modification?
No,
it
not in the
literally
UK.
is genetic modification.
So it's not in the UK, but it is
No.
in the US. So that's why you can get it all in the US, but
Oh,
not here.
fucking hell, Stewie's on Google again. Yes, that's exactly what happens, Stewie. They have to direct it to a specific DNA sequence, yes, but that doesn't mean that they can't insert a specific DNA sequence into the genome at any point that they want.
That's the what do you call it? Final Gravity Brewing's one had me chuckling when he posted this. Let the knuckle draggers drink the robo brewed Carlin. Oh, brilliant.
Am I missing something? Is Stewie having a pop at me because I've just agreed with him?
Yeah.
No?
Fuck's sake. Anyway, whatever. So the point is... Oh, here we go. First question, but we're going to get to it afterwards. I believe with CRISPR, we're going to be able to have stuff that does exactly what we want it to do via the yeast, rather than having to put up with all the climate change things that are going to affect hops, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just leaving the chat alone. I'm not getting into that chat. Stay
Took it
there.
off.
it's an interesting hypothesis as to whether a genetically modified yeast could produce isomerized alpha acids,
Well, we know some
something.
people, so why don't we ask him?
or something equivalent, or indeed like the oil compounds. And it probably would it be like linalool, and because all of those are oil compounds, right? What we've been more interested in them producing is the sulfur compounds, right? So like the things that actually those oils contribute to create the flavors that we're looking for. It's a pretty wild idea, and we had that conversation, I think, with Alex, didn't we? Last time she was on, and the way in which that they are forcing yeast modification. I'm not quite sure what the right word is. Like they kind of sort of over generation after generation, they kind of force it into
evolution.
Evolution, right? But that's not quite what we're talking about here, is it?
No, we're talking about specific genetic editing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty.
I think it's possible. I
just wonder when it'll be allowed in the UK.
I don't think it will, mate.
I think it will. At some point, it'll come.
Not for a long time.
Especially now, since we've left the EU, I think it's even more possible.
Well, I mean, like the population of the US haven't turned into zombies yet. So, proof's in the pudding.
Give it time.
Proof's in the genetically modified pudding.
Is it The Last of Us?
Indeed.
I mean,
so
from what I read about AI, they're going to become more intelligent than we are. The speed at which they're going to be able to learn is going to be infinitely beyond anything that we can even comprehend at this point. And some of that might start to be directed towards our understanding of beer chemistry, which at this point is quite limited, isn't it, in terms of being able to actually
reasonably.
Well, it gives you a recipe, doesn't it?
And a lot of the time, in order to actually do that study, we have to be able to like any good science, is produce the thing physically, right? So it will be interesting as to whether AI can do that at scale and in a really cost-effective way.
That's one of the more important things, isn't it? The cost of it all. Unless they abolish money, in which case everybody would just be doing what they do for the furtherment of humankind, which is all very Star Trek. But, I mean, possibility. I doubt it's going to happen in 100 years. But yeah, we could potentially see a move down that route.
You're talking one world order.
One world order, mate.
Yeah, get rid of money.
Get rid of money. We don't need it.
We don't need it anymore. Down that rabbit hole, do we?
Let's not.
We'll start talking about the Illuminati soon.
They're real. We're all aliens anyway.
Yeah,
we're all aliens.
The reptiles. We'll probably start talking about them.
Yes. No, we're talking. Is this my Friday night beer chat? This is normally what we talk about with the boys on a Friday.
Whether there are actually...
Get the gravity drives on. Let's go.
Okay, can we leave environmental until basically we've had a commercial break?
Yeah, I think we should. I think we need to cool off a bit, don't we?
We do. We need to chill. We need to chill out a bit. I've put the chat in timeout as well. Go to your step. You're in timeout.
Is that right?
Yeah. So,
love it.
I'm gonna grab a beer, an actual beer with alcohol in it, and yeah. So if you've got your beer and you want to start talking about it, hang on. Tricky, whilst you're doing the editing on this one, because I know you'll listen to this point, we're taking it to the commercial break, mate. Thanks.
This is just for the live chat.
Commercial break.
I'm going to do some commercial break music.
I'm going to go first, right?
Who are you now?
So Michael Hall was up visiting. He was up in Paisley, so we went for some Mexican food and 6 beers later on a school night. Not the best idea, but
Wow.
hey ho.
Were you expecting anything less, Andy?
Not really.
Come on.
But so he brought me some beers. So he brought me John Campbell, Red Dog. Don't know if any of you guys know John, but he's on BrewTube. He's one of the guys that's went commercial. So he brought me a couple of his beers, The first one I tried was called an English bitter at 4%, and it was clearly effed, right? Because there was some sort of sharp off flavour, shall we say.
What do you mean by effed? I'm not sure I'm familiar with that parlance.
Fooked.
Fubard.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, Fubar. Let's go with that. And so that was a shame. But so the beers are bottle conditioned, so it could be part of the bottle conditioning process. Sadly, happens. But the second one that I've got here is a robust porter at 5.8, and it is not effed. It is the exact opposite. It is freaking beautiful. It's very thick.
What is it? It's a stout, did you say?
Robust porter.
Oh, robust porter, otherwise known as a stout.
Yeah, well, it's 5.8, so it's like strong, but it's not got that crazy roasty sort of thing going on. It's more that kind of caramel sweetness with the chocolate that you get. So it's definitely went that way rather than the kind of roasty thing.
Nice, I like that. I like
but
that.
it's like get that sort of berry, that we like that kind of dark, dark berry, dark berry fruit, caramel. But yeah, it is. Let's see.
What's the ABV on it?
5.8, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, so nice and strong. But yeah, tasting gorgeous. So yeah, so that's what I'm having.
Gorgeous. Are you gonna give us? You gonna give us a full beer
score?
review?
What's the score?
I just want more. I want more on the aroma. I want ratings on the appearance, aroma, flavour.
Mm-hmm.
After effects.
After effects.
It's got that kind of chocolate marzipan type thing in the nose.
Oh, I love that. Like marshmallow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the nose, and then appearance. I mean, it's just pretty jet. Is it jet black? Oh, it's like you pulled up to light. It's got a bit of red sort of thing going on, kind of reddy brown. But obviously, then when you take it away, it's super dark. I don't know if I can actually show it on camera. Keep knocking my mic.
Please don't. I've got enough of a headache as it is.
Look, there you go. You can see the red.
Ah.
Yeah. So
reminds me of Buck Rogers.
Why?
I'm getting flashbacks to Buck Rogers now. Anyway.
But yeah, that's really
Rogers.
really
Are you
good.
sure it was Buck Rogers, or do you mean Knight Rider?
No, Buck Rogers.
It's a 4 out of 5, I would say, on the beer scale.
It's a 4. Okay. Fair play.
It's good. It's
Nice.
good. It's
Nice.
good beer. Good classic beer.
Sounds like a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled one out of the archives tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. And,
Is it German?
It's not German. It is Scottish.
Oh,
From
right.
Is it an
Dundee.
overtone?
No, it's got to be Vault.
No, it's from Holy Goat Brewing.
Oh, right.
This is called Spectral Law.
Holy Goat's the pure funky bacterial brewery type thing, isn't it?
You know, I like it dirty.
It's like Edinburgh, I think. It's Holy
Dundee,
Goat or
mate.
Oh, come on. It's pronounced Edinburgh. For God's sake.
Dundee.
All you Scots get it wrong.
It's not Dundee, it's Fundy.
Fundy. It's from
Fundy.
Fundy, mate.
Yeah.
So this is a golden sour with tayberries. So this is inspired by the Belgian framboy, or frambos. How do you pronounce raspberry? And
I've always
framboise?
pronounced it framboise.
Framboise. There you go. Third time's a charm. Which is a 80% golden sour beer aged in tank for 3 to 4 months, blended with a 20% golden sour beer aged in wine barrels for over 2 years, and then re-fermented on a 200 grams per litre of freshly harvested tayberries.
Wow.
What I didn't know, if anyone is wondering what a tayberry is, can either of you tell me what a tayberry is?
Is it not
I bet AI could tell you.
I bet AI
Blueberries.
could tell you.
It's not like it's. Is it like a raspberry but smaller or something like that? And
I think you're grasping, Andy. I'll tell you. The Tayberry is a cross between a raspberry and a blackberry.
Oh wow!
And it is named a Tayberry because they were first grown near the River Tay.
Yeah.
There you go. Little
factual. I have heard the Tayberries
fact
before.
bomb for everyone right there.
Dear. I wonder if they are smaller.
But this one was bottled. When was it bottled? Tell me, you bastard. It's not telling me.
Does it really matter?
I do really like the bottle art though. I'm going to try and show everyone on the chat. Whoa,
that's pretty cool.
Oh, look at that.
For those of you who are listening, imagine concentric circles rising up to a planetary background with a triangle and a skull with red light escaping from its eye sockets.
Yeah. So it kind of feels fitting for the conversation.
Yeah.
It does look like a raspberry, I was right.
Like a
You
small
said clutching
raspberry.
at straws.
But I reckon this has been in the fridge for the best part of 2 years. And it does say that you can...
that'll age.
You can age it.
Yeah.
And it says, drink young or age, this will get weirder. Hail the goat.
Okay.
And I like the fact that it's all about the goat. Not that goaty. Not that weird.
But you're getting loads of...
Definitely fruity.
Yeah. 200 grams per litre.
A lot of raspberry vibes going on.
That's mad though, 200 grams per litre. That's just basically Tayberry sour. That's just a fruit.
It is tart.
Yeah, it will be.
It is sour. It is a lot of raspberry.
Tayberry, mate, Tayberry.
But that's better. It might have a bit more depth as a result. I'm not sure why I bothered aging it for 2 years.
Yeah.
Truth be told, I really
maybe to let it calm down, because before it was like crazy sour.
Yeah, it might have smoothed out a bit, but I was really hoping it was going to get like mega funky.
Yeah.
Because I do like the dirty funk, but
loads of oak and stuff, and
not that much oak. A little bit of oak, but very bloody tasty. It's an interesting aftertaste, actually. I think if I'd compared it alongside like a young golden sour that had just been re-fermented with Tayberries, I reckon you'd probably notice a big difference.
Yeah.
I think this would have like a lot more depth to it compared to that. But the thing is, you don't appreciate it when you
Hang on a sec.
comparator.
I understand now why his ears were bleeding. I thought it was dangleberries that you were a big fan of, Brooksy. Anyway, so I've just put raspberry into Google Translate, translated it into French, and hit the button to listen to how it's pronounced. And guess what? We're all fucking wrong. It's pronounced framboise.
Framboise.
Yeah. I wish they did a male voice, but yeah, framboise, according to Google. So I was the closest. You're both wrong.
I think you'll probably find that my second attempt was probably the closest. So framboise, I think was pretty close. Gilles, you be the deciding factor, being a fluent French speaker. Whether it was my first, second, or the collective group's third attempt that was closest. But anyway, I've gabbled on for long enough. I'm enjoying that, and I'll enjoy it for the next
2 hours.
22 minutes.
As you sip it.
Yeah.
He'll allow it. We've passed, kind of. Okay, so, what, you're looking at my bottle?
Yes, of course.
Well, there's nothing on that side, is there?
No, it's just a green label below
Yeah,
it.
that's why I need to do this.
Oh, aye.
So it's the last bottle of my Oktoberfest beers. So it's Schneiderweiss, Festweiss.
I've still got that.
Absolutely love this beer. It's very, very, very smooth. It doesn't hit that hard, and I've had a craving for wheat beer since the for a few weeks. To be fair, I've been thinking about brewing one, but because of the beers last night, having that pint of Weichstefana, I'm back on the wheat beers, boys. Such a great style, and it's getting. I mean, it's going to piss it down for the next 2 weeks, but after that, once the sun comes back out and it's barbecue season, like back in full flow, you got to have a Hefe on, don't you? Really?
Is the time team finished in the back garden, Chris?
Yeah, they've discovered some new stuff, mate. But we'll get into that in the after party.
I think the time team has had to go to the chiropractor several times.
Yeah, the chiropractor and the physio have done wonders for my sciatica.
Yeah, for any of our listeners, basically Chris has been digging up his back garden and found lots of stuff.
Okay, I'll give him the quick list. So we removed a lawn, okay, and underneath that lawn, no, it's just I'm going for a standard Hefe Brooksy. I'm not putting mango in it again. It was a bit too much to do 19 litres of a mango hef.
Like that,
but underneath the lawn, I found 4, probably 2.5 foot by probably 2 foot square pieces of York stone.
Yeah.
Which weighed a bloody ton. I found an old waste pipe, complete with U-bend and pipe work. I found a chimney breast which somebody had kicked over. And exactly 8 inches underneath the garden, which is incidentally the amount an idiot would cover it with topsoil, I found a path running from underneath the cheese plant to the left, the right-hand side of my shed as you look at it, all the way to the privet on the left, which was 4 inches of cement on top of rubble as a base. And I decided we were going to remove all of it. I tried breaking the path with various things, including the SDS drill with a chisel attachment. And the path laughed at me. I then tried the 5-pound sledgehammer, succeeded in doing nothing but create ozone, and then got the 10-pound breaker hammer out and managed to smash it up a little bit to the point where I could remove it. The final piece that we removed weighed 75 kilos, and I had to break it into 8 pieces to be able to carry it to the friggin' skip. So, yeah, now that the time team has almost finished with the back garden, I can get back to brewing. And because we haven't had any rain for essentially, 30 days, 32 days?
Yeah.
We haven't even been able to plant the grass. So I've literally got dirt with a few stones, and at the other side, a beautiful barked area with sleeper separation for the kids' trampoline.
Nice.
Yes. So the other side is looking a bit terrible.
Sounds
and
like
there's
you've gone full excavation.
The worst part about it, Owen, is we've now decided that over the summer, I'm going to excavate the bottom lawn, which is 100% clay soil.
Oh.
Right, and I'm going to build, or excavate more to the point, a sunken seating area with a permanent fire pit in the middle.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of digging, mate.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of digging, but it's going to be shit hot when I've finished.
Yeah, make sure you invite us all when it's all
absolutely.
done.
Once it's done, boys.
None of this work party nonsense coming to help you build it.
No. Once it's all done and finished and I've got it all sorted, because I've got to wire it to put the lights in, and I've got to put drainage in so that the fire pit doesn't just turn into a pool.
Get a nice pergola and all that as well, so that
there will be I've already seen it. It's a 3.9 meter cantilever parasol, which I've seen, which you can ground mount it. So I'm going to get one of them to just kind of cover it up.
I've seen that. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So it's going to be pretty cool by the time we finish. But at the moment, Simon, your invite doesn't even need to be sent. You know you're welcome round any time, mate. I'm round the corner from you, mate.
So that'll be about 3 years' time then.
Might get it done this year.
It'll be done before the end of August. If the
Yeah.
weather's on my side, it'll be done before the end of August.
You're
brewing.
gonna be in bits.
And
Literally,
then I won't be
you're
at
not
work.
brewing. You won't be brewing this year if you do that.
No, I've got area outside the back. Once we get the grass down, I've got area at the top, on the top tier, where I can brew just outside the
I
shed.
bet you're gonna have time.
Mate, there's always time when you've got 6.5, 7 weeks off. I'll be fine.
That's right.
And a hankering for a hef.
Oh, the hef's going to be done inside the next 3 weeks.
Talking of making a hef, I reached out to Andex Closter.
Oh, did you get a reply?
No. But not the point.
Bastards.
I was interested if they might be willing to give me some pointers on making a clone. They weren't,
Response.
unsurprisingly. I even converted it into German for them.
That's probably why they didn't reply.
Oh.
She probably said something like, I want to eat a tree, or something like that.
I think Google Translate's pretty good these days.
You should have got Gilles to do it.
I'm pretty keen to sort of have a go at trying to emulate Andex Hef, but of course it's going to require some decoction mashing.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to require me to build up some yeast from from the dregs of a Hef, Andex Hef bottle.
It isn't a bottle conditioning yeast, no. Probably won't be.
I wouldn't have thought so, not with such
Nah.
a fresh beer.
No, you're probably right.
I think it's probably going to be the legit
Did,
yeast.
wait, did
I'll
Brett
go
not
with
do
that.
this and it was good?
I think Brett did do this. Brett, if you're on the chat, to steer me right to my friend.
I'm sure
Oh,
he'll send you
he's
some of the
doing-
yeast, mate. He's got loads of
he
it, I
did.
think.
He might do.
He grew
might
it up
do.
and he made a beer with the yeast.
I think he did.
Yeah. You've got to
Nice.
decoct it though to get the right flavour. Who's Doorstep Brewing?
You are.
That's
oh,
Lance.
I
that's
thought
nice.
it was. I sacked that chat off. I can't be arsed. So he's going to Andex in 2 weeks, and I hate him even more now.
But he could go and ask, which he just
If he
says
doesn't
no.
bring me a crate back, there's something wrong.
Lance, do it.
I think we ought to go in October half term.
Fuck it, let's do it.
Did I just say that?
You did.
Let's
do it.
it.
Let's do it. Hop edition, jolly.
Let's pick that up in the after party. So we're all done on the commercial break.
Yeah, this is really good. I'm liking this. Right. We have some predictions, but we have one more small point to cover, and it's a big one. So I'm hoping we can knock this one out in about 38 minutes. The environmental issues. What are the effects of climate change?
Scottish hops.
Literally, Scottish hops.
Growing mosaic in
Oh,
Scotland.
have you seen this? 15 quid Manchester to Memmingen. Presume that's a flight. And then 12 quid train to Andex. 27 quid to get to the greatest brewery on earth, boys.
There you go.
You're getting a train from Manchester to...
No, it's a flight.
Germany.
15 quid flight.
And then 12
Nice.
quid on the train to Andex.
Right.
Need
Scottish hops. come
Need
on.
to have a look at that.
No, we need to... I'm not being funny. Scottish hops are less important than that. What we're seeing at the moment, and we talked to what's his name, Will from Farrams, and he was saying things are just moving north.
Yeah.
As climate change is affecting everything, things are just moving north. So in 100 years, Santa might be growing hops for us in Sweden.
Doubt it, but yeah.
You never know. You're looking at a raffle, do you? But the thing is, the temperature changes
could
that
get
we're getting,
colder.
it could. And boys, gentlemen, ladies, anybody who's listening, global warming is not a problem. Global warming is not an issue. Global cooling is the problem, okay? Because when things
Climate
get really
change.
cold, we die, okay? We can already deal with warm weather. That's not an issue. We can't deal with super cold weather because nothing frigging grows. But anyway, if if we end up with waterfall changes and we end up with problems with water supply, if we end up with temperature issues and things like barley and hops aren't growing right, that's where the real issue is going to come. And I'm very much with Owen. I think that temperature, I think we're in a blip, and I honestly think that things are gonna slow down a little bit. Personally, just basically looking at the trend. I mean, it's cooler now than it was a couple of thousand years ago. So yeah, I'm not too worried about the climate. The Earth, we're not going to destroy the planet, no matter what anybody says. The planet's going to be just fine. It's us who are going to be dead.
Yeah.
But there's lots of things to take into account with beer, as far as the effect on the growing of the raw materials and what that's going to have. That's something that we really need to be mindful of, specifically with water and water shortages and issues with rain flow and all of that kind of stuff. We may turn into Australia. Everybody might be having to use cubes. Do you know?
That's true. That is very true. I think ultimately, as you said, if things get warmer, that's not necessarily a bad thing when you're thinking about hop production.
No, it just means it'll be grown further north.
Production.
Yeah.
It's if it gets really cold, then hops are not going to grow, and if it gets really cold, we basically starve, which is going to suck.
Well, we don't starve. We just can't drink beer.
Well,
if we're going to starve, mate, the lack of beer is going to be the least of our worries. Putting not too fine a point on it. But yeah, I do think that is something that needs to be taken into account. Now, I did come up with a few ideas for the points that I raised. If we have water scarcity, desalination is not a difficult process. It really isn't.
Just requires a lot of energy,
which we can get from our quantum batteries and our new 60% efficient
fusion
solar panels. I've thought about this, Owen.
Yeah, and your fusion cores.
And we don't actually want every beer to be a goes, because they're hideous. So looking at ways in which breweries and us can recapture the water and recycle the water. Now, I'm quite careful with water, because I firmly believe that that's what world wars can be fought over. Well, I'm not on a meter. I'm rated.
Are you not?
No, I'm not on a meter, me mate. So
same as me then.
Everything that comes out of the chiller.
Just don't wash. That was that, wasn't it?
No, that's you guys. And I put that straight into the water butt. All of the effluent that comes out of my RO system goes straight into the water butt as well, and then we use that to water the plants. Because the the cheese plant got dug out, mate. Fuck the cheese plant. But the missus really likes it because the minerals and stuff that are in it, when it ends up in the soil, when you water the plants with it, plants love it. Extra minerals, So that's one way to kind of reuse your water, and that's basically what I've been doing for the last 3.5, 4 years. Is you save what comes out, the extra mineral-y stuff, and the stuff that comes out, the warm stuff that comes out the end of the chiller goes straight into the water butt. And then we literally just get the kids to carry the water cans and, we water everything. Incidentally, I've got a crop of raspberries this year off of 3 plants that's just gorgeous. It's beautiful. And we've got strawberries growing as well. We've got yosterberries. We've got red currants. We've got blueberries as well. We've got blueberries growing. They're all amazing. They're all loving the highly mineralised water.
Sounds like the good life.
Yeah, except, my missus wears bras. So, yeah. I've seen Waterworld.
That's in the future.
The stupidest line from Waterworld is, "I feel land sick." God. So yes,
isn't land sickness a thing if you've been on the sea for a long time?
I have no idea, but it's a ridiculous line.
I think it is.
It's a thing. It's actually a thing.
Well, land sick.
Yeah, land sickness. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It doesn't move around like the water.
Land sickness.
Oh God.
Official
go.
term for mal de terre from French.
Oh, here we go. No, you've just pissed off Gilles again now.
Yeah, he's a pretty chill guy, to be fair. I think if you've been out on the sea for a very, very long time and then you get back to sea, it can
Back to land.
affect you.
Because when you walk,
back to land.
it feels like the land's moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only option I've heard to avoid that is to get really pissed,
I was gonna say.
and then you level out. You're all good at that point.
Yeah, because you're just swaying all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Brooks
Thomas
is questioned.
Thomas is verifying my my claim. There you go.
So Brooks is posted, don't the filters hold the minerals from waste RO water? Well, they may hold some, mate, but my TDS meter tells me that the stuff that's coming out of the red pipe is has got a lot of minerals in it as well, mate. So, or a lot of dissolved stuff in it, whether it's actually the minerals or not. I've not run it through an FITR or anything like that, so I couldn't tell you the actual mineral content, but I will tell you that I've got shitloads of raspberries. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, the other thing that we talked about was CO2 recapture.
Oh yeah, because I did the Tenants Brewery tour.
Yeah.
Was it last Friday? So a week on Friday, and that was something they've invested in, and it was like a big balloon that captures all the kind of the CO2 that's getting blown off from the main tanks, but then they're able to then, I think they can liquefy it again and then use it to carbonate the beer. So that was pretty cool.
So they suck it back through a compressor, back into a proper tank.
Yep, and then they can use that to carbonate and stuff. Or
Wouldn't there have to be some sort of drying process before it goes back in, though? That's going to be pretty humid air, isn't it?
Yeah. There is process, but yeah, the CO2 capture thing's a thing now.
Why would it have to be dry though? Because it's going to convert back to a liquid anyway.
Because if it's wet, it can harbour bacteria and yeast and microorganisms suspended in the water.
It'll be filtered. Must be filtered somehow.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's probably going to be dried before it goes back in, and then they're going to use the pure CO2 to recarbonate.
But my thing is, in how many years will it be before that's a kegland product that, you just hook it up?
Probably a week on Tuesday now we've mentioned it.
And you've got a tank sitting beside it, sort of thing, It's like, when does that come to the home brewer?
Tiny little tank, like the size of a
CO2 capture
soda stream thing.
So we don't have to pay our 70 quid for our gas bottles.
Yeah,
pay 70 quid for your gas.
I don't know what the answer if this is, but does a brewery produce more or less carbon than it puts in?
Is it carbon neutral business? That's a very good question. I couldn't answer that one.
Because I'd imagine they probably use quite a lot in terms of purging stuff, carbonating stuff. But of course the fermentation's producing a lot of carbon dioxide as well. So it'd be interesting to know what the ratio is on that. If anyone knows, let me know.
I don't know. It's a good question, is that?
In theory, you'd kind of want to get to that sort of carbon neutrality, as Andy pointed out, that you'd have the technology there and the infrastructure to be able to effectively become, completely devoid of the need of third-party CO2.
That's an interesting one. It's definitely an interesting one. Could you get like a gas pump to be able to charge up one of your kegs?
But you can use it for flushing all your lines and for bottling or canning, whatever sort of thing. So.
Absolutely, it's a good one. That's a good one. That is a good one. We've covered a few of the other points that we had, which was about hops. So as climate change affects everything, do low alpha acid hops become more difficult to grow? So we know Saz is on its way out because it's basically susceptible to everything.
Disease, I know.
So are we not looking at, the amount of high alpha hops that we're going to end up with because of the amount of sunlight and, you know, all of the work that people are going to be doing on hops specifically. Like, I was growing an apple tree, and it shot up one stalk, and it was looking stunning. I'm like, yes, grown an apple tree. And then it got downy mildew, and it literally killed the entire plant. So, you know, is that the kind of thing that we're going to be seeing?
See this cracking summer we've had, I've not got any downy mildew on my hop plants this year, whereas last year it was a real wetty, wasn't it? And so, like, there was loads of that sort of weird white powdery shit and all that all over it, and black stuff. This year, the hop leaves
Nothing.
huge and looking great, all looking super healthy. And I think it's been that belter of, you know, really, really good.
Assuming it stays dry, Andy.
Stays dry. Well, we've got the next couple of weeks, haven't we?
It fucked my apple tree up anyway, mate. So, yeah.
We'll soon find out.
Let's work his way through the rest of these. So, barley regions may shift.
I think we've probably covered
Genetic modification.
all of it.
Yeah.
Energy changes. The last point, and the point that kind of I put in there because really we're just grasping at straws here. Nobody knows really. About the only thing that we do know is that AI is going to become an issue. We know that the government's always an issue. But is the process likely to change much at all? I'm not reading that last one. It's not really changed that much over the last 100 years. Is it really likely to change much over the next 100 years? There will be some technological changes, but as a process...
It's a fair challenge, isn't it? And particularly given as it's in the main, the brewing industry is not necessarily a high capital industry, right? It's not necessarily like it's not creating an enormous amount of capital investment to be investing back into itself to create like lots of technological advancement. So with that in mind, I wouldn't be surprised if in 100 years brewing looks much the same. It's just the recipes being created by or supplemented by AI. There might be a bit more robotic automation in there.
A bit more genetic modification of the hops and the yeast.
Yeah, I think, you know, ingredients because of climate change will definitely be changing. But fundamentally, it's about adaptability anyway. So it will be a shift in kind of maybe one thing we've not talked about is what is the implication of all of this to the flavour of beer? How is the flavour of beer going to change? How's the aroma of beer going to change? How is the beer going to be different? And maybe that's worth just kind of closing out on as a summary of if we think about all the things we've talked about this evening, what might beer taste like? And we have also haven't necessarily talked about beer styles and tastes and interests, but that's very cyclical anyway. But you know, is the beer going to significantly be less fruity, or is it going to be significantly more fruity? Is it going to be?
Well, we've went through these sort of changes where beer's been more about like cost driven to be the cheapest, but then is there going to be a real drive for flavour and quality products because it becomes more niche? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like that. There's been like a massive explosion of beer availability, and there over the last, I would say,
10, 20 years,
10 to 15 years, with like a tenfold increase in the number of craft breweries around to be able to produce that variety of beer. Does that just extrapolate? Do we just continue on that trajectory? It will ebb and flow. But bigger picture is, in 100 years, do we end up with 10x the number of craft breweries than we do today? because materially we have more people. So therefore we need more breweries.
Are we going to have more people in 100 years, though? That's the question.
Good challenge.
Because
Good
I
challenge.
don't personally think that we can sustain population explosions like we have.
No, that's true. That's true. We might not. We might not see that happen.
There's just not enough doctors, is there?
And can we cope?
I'm
with
not
any
worried
more,
about the doctors, mate.
Can we cope with any more variety of? Do we need any more variety of craft beer?
Absolutely, yes, we do.
Do we?
We do. We do. We need to get rid of the goes because it's horrible, and we need a style to replace that. So definitely, we need one more.
God, I
Goes
think
is
you
good.
ought to wash your mouth out.
I know. What the heck?
I'm sorry, I've been affected by the Erdinger.
Look, just wash your mouth out. Have a couple of draws off your sippy cup, and
Goes
make
goes
sure
down to you.
make sure your mouth is clean. All right.
Look, guys,
If you need to clean your face, use your bib. All right?
we've poked our way. I'm going to ignore Owen. We've poked our way through this, and some of the changes are definitely going to be coming. We know that they are because it's logical for them to come. Some of the things that we've talked about is real kind of worst case scenario. Some of it is, best case scenario. But I think the bottom line is there are limitations on everything with regards to technology, with regards to funding, with regards to literally, every variable you can think of. At the same time, I'm not entirely sure that we're not going to see some kind of step in by government, which will, honestly, that'll piss me off. But I do think that a few things that we can count on. Okay, so this is just my brain talking. I think we can definitely count on the malt mill still having excellent service and producing amazing stuff. Okay,
In 100 years,
definitely they've got kids, right?
it's gonna be Rob Junior,
Rob Junior, Rob the Third.
Rob the Third.
That's the one. And I think that we can also count on the changes to hops that we're seeing with some of the crossbreeding and stuff becoming really quite prevalent. I think we can definitely look at yeast and yeast modification as becoming a big thing. And I think we can also... Cyborg Reiki. Oh my God. I think that we can
We'll
also...
have Reiki cryogenically frozen.
Reiki the
For the
Fourth.
future, yeah.
I just think that we can definitely count on I don't want to think about how many types of IPA we're going to have in 100 years. Somebody's going to come up with some weird style. Anyway, I do think that there are things that are going to happen. I think there are things that are bound to happen. And I think that realistically speaking, we can get to the point where we're going to see changes, but I don't personally see massive changes to the process itself. Certainly not fucking cyborgs making my beer.
I think that will happen.
Well, I'll bet you a fiver that it doesn't happen in my lifetime.
All right, you're on.
All right. How about a Kolsch IPA? Yeah, definitely. That's what we're going to have, Thomas. It's all about the Kolsch, and I'm saying it that way deliberately.
Good idea. Let's have a Kolsch IPA.
Kolsch IPA. South Pole IPA.
South
What's going to be in the South Pole IPA? Penguins?
It's because that's that's going to be the new hop growing region.
That's the one.
Have you tried those new Antarctic hops?
Barley and hops.
Yeah. An Imperial Black Kolsch aged on cherries. I'm down for that one, Simon. Make it happen, bro. Right, guys. We have, and I'll be honest with you, we've earned the right to a weird episode. So we've done it. Expect
Why
more
not?
in the future.
Next
Thanks
week,
to everybody. Oh, next week, yes, we've got Guy Pearce from Hopsteiner joining us. And we're going to be drinking Owen's beer. And we're going to be talking about hops, and we're going to be talking about a new hop. Well, a new hop to me. Everybody else has probably heard of it and brewed with it. Called Allura. So we're going to be talking about Allura a little bit. It smells amazing. I had a couple of beers with it in, and it was phenomenal. It's such a lovely hop. But Guy is a mentalist. He's awesome. So, you know, look forward to that episode because it's going to be pretty cool. Other than that, Guy Perry, not Guy Pearce, you donut. Although, did I say Guy Pearce? I may well have done.
He was great on Neighbours.
I think you did say Guy Pearce. Yeah.
I probably did. His name's Guy Perry, not Guy Pearce. That's going to haunt me all the way through the next episode, isn't it? So yes, we're gonna be having a bit of an after party now. I probably did, to be fair. Brooksy, I probably did. But he's coming on, and he's a top dude. He's a really good guy. So
great on Neighbours.
He was.
Yeah, wow. You're showing your age there, Brooksy.
And the fact that you watch shit TV. But let's move on. So after party
time in its
it was crap.
To be fair,
it was shit.
It was prime time.
Okay, we're going to the after party. So here we go. There's the link. If you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube right now, that's the link. You can jump in there. It's going to bing in my ear a million times, but I don't care. So, yes, everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
See you guys.
And as Brett calmly wrote in the chat, which was incredibly accurate, biddly, 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 what's up, Buck? That was Buck Rogers. We're out. See you later. Bye. Oh, I didn't say it. Episode 116 in a bag.
There you go.
Right, we can leave now. Bye. Love y'all.